Hey, what if I told you Samsung started out as a grocery store and that American Express was actually a freight delivery company? That would be kind of wild, right? Well, it's a fact. But here's the thing, folks. Success rarely comes in a straight line. Some of the biggest wins that we ever get come from unexpected pivots. And today I'm going to explore three companies that made some odd, shifty pivots and turned them into billion-dollar empires. If you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling to gain traction, or maybe you're doing well and you're comfortable, well, this episode is for you because it's going to change the way you think about your business forever. Let's go ahead for this ride.
Hey, welcome to a random podcast where we challenge the status quo and we empower people like you to think differently. Today, we're diving into three companies that made a pivot that changed their business forever, turned into billion-dollar companies that we recognize today. Yes, I gave one away. It was American Express. We're going to get into that a little bit more at the end. But there are two others that are compelling, that really shook me. And boy, I said, you know what? I got to tell my listeners because this is very fruitful and can help their business. Let's go ahead and start off with number one. I want you to imagine that you're starting a business. Let's say you're selling soap and you have a free giveaway. People are more attracted to it than the soap. What will you do about that? That's the same question that Bill Wrigley Jr. had to come up with. Am I going to make a change or am I going to keep selling my soap? Well, what he did was he made the pivot. And today we know it as Wrigley Gum, the billion-dollar empire. Come on, man. We wouldn't be able to have our breath smelling good when we're talking to people at a game or at a meeting if it wasn't for Wrigley. Well, we could have possibly washed our mouth out with soap. I wouldn't recommend it because I had to wash my mouth out with soap once, not because I was being nice, but because I was saying words that weren't kind. And I would prefer the gum over the soap. So how did it happen? How did he make this pivot? As part of his gimmick, he would give away baking powder. So if you buy soap, I'll give you baking powder. Now you got to think about this. This is 1800. So you go baking powder. Why would I want baking powder if you're, selling me soap? But it was a commodity at the time. And what he started to notice was that more people wanted the baking powder than the soap. They started asking him, hey, do I have to buy the soap in order to get the baking powder? Or can I just pay you the money and get the baking powder and you keep the soap? So he started to think to himself, well, if they really want the baking powder and not the soap, I think I'll make a little pivot. So he made a pivot. What I like about this story is it doesn't end there. As you know, because he sells gum, right? So how did he go from baking powder to gum? He's a marketing genius. So he decided, well, if I'm selling baking powder, yes, people want it, but I need to give them something free. So what did he decide to give to them for free? Gum. So every time you bought baking powder, he gave you free gum. And guess what happened? The same thing happened. Yes, people love the baking powder, but they love the gum more. And they start to ask them the same question. Do I have to buy the baking powder in order to get the gum? Or can I just get the gum and you can keep the baking powder? Voila, Wrigley Gum was created. So my question to you is, do you have a product or service that you are trying to sell and you notice people aren't quite picking up on it? And maybe you have some freebies like, hey, I'll give you free consultation if you get this book, or I'll give you some free gift if you sign up for this. And you notice that people are gravitating more to that free thing than that actual thing you're trying to get them to pay for. That is consumers giving you feedback, letting you know, hey, we like that other thing. Sometimes we get in our feelings and we want to say, well, no. This is what I do. This is what I'm selling. This is the product I came up with. This is my dream. They're going to buy this. I'm just not going to sell that. They get it for free if they buy it. It's leverage. Nah, you got to get out your own way. You got to do just like Wrigley did. He got out of his own way and he started popping bubbles and making billions of dollars. That kind of leads me to the second company. The second company was very similar. And this really blew me away, okay? So I was really shocked that this company started one way and evolved into another way. They were giving out free samples as well, along with their products if you bought their products. It was a door-to-door salesman named McConnell. McConnell would go door-to-door selling books. Yes, books that you read. But this is the early days when people read books, when you had encyclopedias and all those kind of things. And he was selling books door to door. And he says, man, I really need to drum up book sales. And every time I go to homes, there's always women there because they're at home taking care of the family. And that was during that time. So he says, what can I do to entice them to buy a book? Well, he decided that, hey, I am going to give them some perfume where they can smell good if they buy a book. Now, a little sexist, but he figured women like smelling good and they like perfume. So therefore, this would be a good gimmick. And it was a great gimmick. His books were selling because of these perfumes, and women just wanted to get more of the perfume. He had the same challenge that Wrigley had. The women start saying, do I have to buy this book and read this book in order to get the perfume? Or can I just get the perfume and you can keep the book? You had to think about it. He had to be a little bit into his feelings because he's like, okay, I'm knocking on your door. I'm selling you books to try to help educate you for you can read and you can learn and your kids can learn. And you're interested only in the smell good? But guess what he did? He says, nah, I'm not letting my ego get in the way. He says, I'm going to sell you perfume. He went and got with some chemists and they started making better smelling perfume. And he started selling the perfume to women instead of the book. And the perfume started to sell like hotcakes, just like the Wrigley gum did. Now, he went a step further. And this is what I like about this guy. This guy hired a bunch of underempowered people to be able to sell his product. And he gave them something to work for, something to have pride in because they weren't employed and they didn't have their own economical power. He made his whole workforce women going door to door selling perfume. And eventually they sold makeup. And you can probably guess this company is Avon. Yes, Avon started out as a book company. Isn't that insane? He was selling books, but now turned into perfume and makeup. And then he changed the economics for women and made a women's sales force where they can go out and earn their own money. And Avon is $1 billion company today and is still thriving. So next time someone sells you Avon, quiz them. Do you know how you started? Do you know how Avon started? You don't have any books for me? They'll probably look at you crazy. But you know what? You'll smell good. So again, I'm going to ask you, do you have something that you're giving away that could be more value? Do you have a way of empowering people for economic freedom? So maybe your business model can really incorporate people who need an opportunity to make income. And those people are going to work hard for you and make income for you. So you could be thinking of a new strategy, a new way of tapping into a group of people. Maybe it's young people. Maybe it's older people. Whatever class of people it is, maybe you could find a way to tap in with your business and be able to have a workforce that's empowered and also empowers you in return. I think this is ingenious. So far, Wrigley, ingenious with the pivot. Avon, ingenious with the pivot and empowering people. This is mind-blowing. It lets you know, number one, that what you're starting out with might not be what you end up with. You can't be fearful of changing direction. You can't be fearful of hearing consumers talk and change direction for you. Now, I'm going to get into American Express, but this is very important that you get this, that you might be in love with your product, but your consumers out there might be in love with your byproduct. So therefore, dig into your business and see if you can take one of your byproducts, and it might be your superstar. It might be your lead singer. So let them shine and let you shine so you can make money. If you go over to my website, A Random Podcast, and you click on the random button at the top, you can fill out a form to get a free business evaluation. And I will select randomly every week someone from that list and be able to help you out. If you're interested, go ahead and jump over. You never know. It might be you. I might be able to sow a seed in your life. Now, American Express. This one really is a smooth story. And when I say smooth, because the transitions were very smooth. It wasn't only a pivot, but it was a spinoff. And I was like floored when I discovered the story when it came to American Express. So American Express did start out as a freight delivery company where they deliver freight in express mail because the post office sucked like today. All right. And they started to notice that they were delivering a lot of gold and money and financial instruments, way more than they were doing anything else. So they decided, hey, why don't we start to get into the financial business and provide what we call American Express checks. So this was a thing that people in the early days used to have as cash. So a person would come and bring their gold, their money, and they would give them American Express check for that equivalent. and they can use it anywhere on the East Coast of the United States. It was good as gold. And they didn't have to walk around with all that gold, all that money on them, and worry about getting robbed, especially during the 1800s when you had a lot of bandits and you had a lot of crime taking place. They were able to utilize this. American Express kind of converted over to financials. That was a good thing that they diversified and pivot to that because the government started coming down on freight companies because they wanted the post office to be successful. So therefore, they were able to pivot right over to the financial aspect and make money. Now, that's the pivot. So you said, what's the spinoff? This is where it's real smooth. I love this. It blew me away. I was like really shocked. The founders of American Express were two partners that you heard of. One's last name was Wells and the other name was Fargo. And they had a third partner. They actually started American Express. Think about that. I was like, wait a minute. So Wells and Fargo was part of the founding of American Express. And American Express is a financial institution. Wow, okay. I said, well, which one came first? Wells and Fargo or American Express? Wells Fargo came later. You know why Wells Fargo came later? Because American Express got caught being stale and comfortable. And this is where I said this video's for you. If you're doing well and you're feeling comfortable, they were dominating the East Coast and making all the money with the financial instruments. But Wells and Fargo says, the West has got all this gold mining going on. All these people are starting to settle out West. Why don't we go out West? The third partner like, nah, we don't want to go West. We're doing well here. We're comfortable. So Wells and Fargo decided, hey, we're going to keep our ownership here, but we're going out West. And we're starting a company in California called Wells Fargo. Bam. I was like, you're telling me Wells Fargo was really the owners of American Express? Boy, that blew me away. They went out West and they cleaned up. So they took care of the West Coast and their stake in the East Coast part with the American Express. They doubled their money while their third partner was satisfied and comfortable with just making money on the East Coast. And he did not amount to much wealth as they did. So moral of the story, again, pivot, change direction, see what customers are looking for, change to that direction if you can serve them. But also don't get stale, don't get stuck, don't get comfortable because you got the house, you got the cars, and things are rolling. Still look for the opportunity to spin off. Spin off. Being comfortable will cause you to lose money. Now, these were 3 different companies that blew me away. It did pivots, some did double pivots, some did spinoffs, some empowered people to be in the workforce to get their own financial wealth while building them up. This is what entrepreneurship is all about. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If so, give me a like, go and put comments down below, but also check out this video here. This video here will help you out a lot. And this right here is other famous companies that we utilize and great stories. We break down strategies and you can use them. This is your boy J.I., a random podcast. I'll holler at y'all on the other side.